Good evening to you. Well, we're in a spell of beautiful weather here in the UK, and it's just wonderful to be able to wake up in the morning and feel the warmth of the sun and go through the day with a still, calm air, and then in the evening like this, just to appreciate the stillness. But something just happened to me now, and I just thought I'd mention it in a video because I think it has relevance. I put my bike down. There she is, my Roadster. It's actually a racing bike. It had drop handlebars, which I took off because I once went over the top of them and I'm a bit nervous of drop handlebars. So I parked my bike on the opposite side, just over here actually, and I was just thinking and pondering a little while before I was going to come across over here to the church. And then I moved out into the road. And as I moved out into the road, I suddenly looked, and coming towards me were about 6 racing cyclists, completely silent. And they started to go, whoa, like that. And of course, I was right in front of them. And they literally missed me by, well, just a few yards. In fact, when I crossed over, I suddenly realized that it was actually a split-second miss. If I'd gone and moved possibly 1 second later, they would have crashed into me, and I don't know what would have happened. I mean, they were going at 20, 30 miles an hour. Maybe they would have finished me off at that point. But it just makes one think about the split-second timing of being saved. That in that moment, I wasn't aware of it, but my life actually possibly could have been on the line. And possibly theirs as well, going at that speed, because they were riding in a bunch. And I could have actually been responsible for wiping quite a few of them out. A bicycle accident can kill. And just made me think there about God's timing, how God looks after us in that split second. How, unbeknownst to us, he's about to save us from a calamity, and we're unaware of it. And I think it just has, well, it has larger proportions really in life, I think. Thinking about how God moves in our lives in so many different ways, taking us down different pathways, leading us to meet certain people that we wouldn't have met if we'd gone in a certain direction. There was a film created back in the 90s called Sliding Doors. I don't know if any of you's ever watched it. It was one of these, well, a bit of a rom-com, I suppose, really. I think it starred Gwyneth Paltrow and a chap called John Hannah. And it paralleled 2 situations, 2 scenarios. The one was where Gwyneth was coming down the stairs to the London Underground, and some child, I think, got in her way, and that split second prevented her from actually getting on the train. And then the other scenario, which they show you straight afterwards, shows you that she was able to actually get on the train and there was nothing in front of her. And the whole film parallels what would have happened, what did happen if she got on the train, what did happen when she didn't get on the train. And it's really quite interesting to see how her life panned out. And in the one scenario, she actually ends up dead. And in the other one, she actually meets the person in the very end of the film whom I think she was meant to meet. And it's interesting to see how one's life can change simply by going in a certain direction. And I think it's the same for us, isn't it, for the gospel? Somebody hears the gospel, they either respond to it at that particular moment or they don't. Somebody comes across a certain person's pathway. Perhaps you've got hold of one of my tracts, which I've been talking about recently, and you've given it to someone and they've taken it away, and God has done something in their hearts by the Holy Spirit and moved them, and maybe they were about to make a certain decision in their life that maybe that particular tract or maybe a word that you've given to them has actually changed their minds at that point. And I It's possibly the same, isn't it, for all these people lying here in these graves. And maybe at some point in life, something has caused them maybe to die prematurely, or perhaps a decision on the positive side that actually gave them long life. We don't know, do we? We make decisions, and sometimes the providence of God just comes in and makes a change that we're completely unaware of, and it can be for our benefit or our detriment. So I just thought I'd leave that thought with you. I hadn't intended to make the video about this. I was actually thinking about making a video this evening, and didn't really know what I was going to say. But there again, you see, the split-second moment that God wanted me to share this message with you, and you never know what it can do, what it says through the message. I don't know. Maybe it's something that you hadn't expected to hear tonight, and maybe it's going to be a moment for you to think about. And so I think also, possibly, it's about God working in our lives through his timings, and maybe we should just think more about that. Commit ourselves a bit more to saying, Lord, in your time, please work out this circumstance for me. Bring about your will in this situation. And then something unexpected can occur. We can meet someone we hadn't intended to meet. We could be offered that job we didn't know was going to be on the horizon. And we'll just take a different direction on a fork, on a crossroads. It's an interesting thought, isn't it? I'm back on my bike again, and just on my way home. But there's a Bible verse that comes to mind. I don't have my Bible with me, so if you'd like to tell me in the comments where it is, and if I'm quoting it correctly, I think it says something like, many are the plans of a man's heart, but the Lord directs his steps. We can have so many plans, can't we? So many ideas about things that we want to do, want to say, places we want to be, but God sometimes has a completely otherwise idea for us. So I just want to end this by just saying, commit your way to the Lord tonight. Say, Lord, direct my time, direct my steps, direct my ideas, direct my thoughts, particularly, Lord, as we see the world darkening and men's hearts becoming blacker and the ways becoming more and more difficult to navigate. We have the light. The Lord is my light and my salvation. And that's Psalm 27 verse 1. Whom shall I fear? So let's walk in the light as he is in the light. Have a blessed evening. One more postscript. The light is starting to fade now. But I just want to add, some of you have emailed me saying you couldn't download the track from the link in the description box. Can I ask you tonight, thank you for those that have said they couldn't manage it, and I've managed to email some of you back and send you the PDF. Can I do it the opposite way around now and say that if you've managed to download it, could you please just put a yes in the comments, and I can see how many of you have managed. I would appreciate that, and I'll be able to see it. And also if you could just put roughly whereabouts you are in the world, and then I can sort of draw a little kind of map in my head, I suppose, of where the tractor's going and how it's extending out into the world. I would appreciate it if you could do that. Good night again.